Pendulums construct labyrinths to keep people trapped within their structures, forcing them to serve alien goals. The moment you realize that the labyrinth is an illusion, the doors to freedom open before you. What are pendulums, and what is the labyrinth? All of that and much more will be answered in this long-awaited video. I've personally read hundreds of books on spirituality, reality creation, and self-mastery, probably closer to 1,000 at this point. I've lost count. And if you know me, you know that there's one book I've quoted and referenced more than any other over the last 5 years, Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland. This book is different because if you're anything like me, there was a point in your journey where you became disillusioned with self-help and personal development books. It seemed like every big-name speaker had a new book coming out every other year filled with recycled materials, words that sounded nice to read but didn't actually change much. You've read the basics. Say these mantras. Change your thinking. Meditate more. Be more confident. Demand what you're worth, etc. And then something happened. Life got more complicated. The walls of the maze grew 10 feet higher, and you were left wandering, trying to figure it out on your own, fighting endlessly for your place in life. The promise of fortune, dream lifestyles, and effortless miracles never arrived. Only confusion, only uncertainty about why things weren't working the way they were supposed to. That's where reality transurfing is fundamentally different. Vadim Zeland wrote it, and then for the most part disappeared into obscurity. He has no social media presence, no overpriced coaching program, no endless marketing campaigns, just a pure transmission of real knowledge. And every single time I've convinced someone to read this book, they always come back to me and say, where the hell did you find this? So in this video, I'm going to break down the most important concepts and chapters in this masterpiece because it is a dense book, and it took me nearly 4 years of study, practice, and embodiment to fully grasp its depth. I've condensed it into 10 core sections. Think about this video as the distilled cheat codes to reality, the Bible of true manifestation, not the sugar-coated nonsense people talking about burning sage and being high vibes. This will be direct and transparent, yet deeply metaphysical. So let's begin with part 1, the space of variations. To transurf reality means to effortlessly glide into the reality you desire, where you are experiencing your preferred circumstances with ease. That's really what the whole cult of manifestation and law of attraction is trying to teach. But they often teach it in a way that echoes wishful thinking without the practical explanation of what's going on at both the metaphysical and physical levels. And if you're not familiar with the term metaphysical, it simply means beyond physical, the spiritual realm, the quantum field, the unseen forces that still govern our experience, whether you're aware of them or not. And in truth, you're not creating reality, you're navigating it. All possibilities already exist simultaneously, and the work you are doing internally combined with the actions you're taking externally in the physical world are aligning you to the manifestation of a specific reality that already exists within the infinite field of possibilities. So when you're intentionally seeking to create something, a dream job, a dream income, a dream partner, a dream vacation, or any other experience you prefer but aren't living, you're not creating it from nothing. You're tapping into what's called the space of variations and selecting the version of reality where that experience already exists, because it already exists right now. You live in a reality of infinite possibility, and all possibilities coexist simultaneously. Imagine your life as a vast film archive. Each film shows a different lifeline, a different version of your existence. Your thoughts and mental attitudes are like the remote control, choosing which film to play in the theater of your reality. Even think about the fact that you're watching this video right now. Out of the millions of videos you could have watched across the entire internet, you're here because your mental attitude, your focus, and your frequency, whether consciously or unconsciously, are aligning you towards realities that better represent the kind of experience you desire. And if you're currently experiencing a life that you don't prefer, if you feel stuck, restricted, lacking the freedom, lacking the confidence or success that you want, there's nothing to panic about, because the version of you living that preferred life already exists. It's in the archive. And simply by watching this video, by expanding your awareness to this level of understanding, you're already beginning to shift. Awareness is the first step to mastering the game of reality. You're beginning to realize that this game, the real game, is a game of resonance. Your particular set of thoughts, beliefs, and emotional attitudes are sending out a frequency into the space of variations. And reality, like a faithful mirror, is reflecting it back to you through your circumstances, opportunities, and experiences. You are like a radio station tuning into a specific frequency, and that frequency determines which lifeline, which reality stream you are currently navigating. So what does this mean practically? It means that in order to transurf into the reality you desire, you have to tune yourself to the right frequency. And by doing this, you begin moving through the infinite space of variations, accessing possibilities that have always been available to you, but were previously out of reach because your station was tuned to a different set of circumstances. Reality itself exists as a unified field of energy and information. Information is what happens. Energy is the force behind how and why it happens. Your mind and your soul are interacting with this field at all times, whether you are conscious of it or not. And most people believe they are making decisions that create their lives. But in reality, decisions, thoughts, emotions, and actions are simply aligning you with the sector of the space of variations that already exist. You're navigating. You're not inventing reality from scratch. So the question becomes, how do you deliberately move along lifelines that reflect more of the life that you truly desire? That's why you're watching this video. To move along lifelines intentionally, you must first realize that your mental and emotional state is the steering wheel. Every thought you entertain, every feeling you amplify, every belief you carry, all of it determines which version of reality you're shifting into. Sometimes the shifts are small, a mood, a conversation, a subtle change in your day. Other times they are massive, life-altering events that radically change the trajectory of your experience. The world around you changes subtly at first, but over time, consistent energetic shifts create undeniable external transformations. So when you understand this, and fully understand it, you realize that manifestation isn't about forcing reality to give you something you don't have. It's about tuning yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to the version of life where things you desire already exist. And the cleaner your frequency becomes, the less doubt, the less desperation, the less internal resistance you carry, the faster you move along lifelines where your goals are naturally accessible. You don't have to conquer reality. You don't have to manipulate it. Reality already contains the path you are seeking. Your job is to choose it and become the kind of person who naturally lives there. Every choice you make, every emotional stance you take, every dominant thought you entertain, all of it is tuning the dials of your consciousness. And the beauty of this is you don't have to get it perfect. You just have to consistently move towards resonance with the experiences you prefer and let go of the ones that no longer reflect who you really are. That is the art of transurfing. This is how you glide between lifelines from the maze of confusion into the wide open space of freedom. And now that you understand the game of reality and that reality is really a game of tuning your frequency, it's time to talk about the frequency that you're aiming for. It's called the wave of good fortune. And here's the fun part. You already know how to do this. You've done it before, and it's always available to you. Think back to a moment in your life where everything just clicked. Maybe it was a good week, maybe a good month, maybe a good year, where opportunity after opportunity seemed to land right in your lap. You found the right friends, you attracted the right partner, you achieved something exceptional without the struggle you expected. But then, something shifted. Suddenly, everything felt hard again. The flow was gone. You were back in friction and resistance as life began to throw more obstacles your way. That moment of effortless success, that was you riding the wave of good fortune. And the moment things became heavy again, that was you misaligning away from it. The wave of good fortune is a sector in the space of variations, a positive life track where reality itself does the heavy lifting for you. Positive life tracks look like ease, synchronicity, success, and breakthroughs. Negative life tracks look like setbacks, misfortune, mistiming, or repeated failures. Now, the important thing to understand is this. Everyone's life contains both. Both good fortune and misfortune are part of the natural rhythm of reality, the eternal dance between chaos and order. The key is not to eliminate misfortune. The key is to remain neutral to the rhythm and keep your mental attitude aligned to gratitude at every moment. Gratitude during good times keeps you grounded so you don't become arrogant or reckless. Gratitude during difficult times keeps your soul in peace and creates the energetic space for positive life tracks to appear again. Because here's the truth. The wave of good fortune never leaves you. You leave it. It's always there, always ready to lift you. But most people drift away from it without even realizing it. You depart from the wave when you become overly fixated, rigid, or controlling about your reality. That tightness invites lower frequencies into your field. Our minds are addicted to control and they hate uncertainty. So when something unexpected happens, when misfortune appears, we panic. We judge ourselves and we spiral into lower frequency states. And in doing so, we unconsciously tune ourselves out of the wave. But misfortune itself is not the enemy. In fact, if you can maintain gratitude even when things look like they're falling apart, if you can recognize that every misfortune carries within it the seed of a greater fortune, then you truly never fall off the wave. You don't fight reality to manifest, you surrender to the flow. You align your frequency, and reality carries you where you were always meant to go. So don't panic if it feels chaotic right now. You are not far from the wave. It's right there, waiting for you to shift your perspective and master your mental attitudes. And the rest of this video, the remaining parts, are like the blueprint. The blueprint for tuning yourself back into the wave of good fortune and staying there. And to start with that blueprint, you must understand one of the most subtle yet powerful forces in this reality, a force that secretly hijacks your energy without you even realizing it and knocks you off of the wave of good fortune: pendulums. Pendulums are invisible energy structures created by collective thought, emotions, and behaviors of groups of people. They're like living entities, feeding on your human energy to keep themselves alive. These energetic entities and thought forms are all around you all the time. You can either get caught by them and lose your energy, or stay conscious and refuse to feed them, keeping your freedom. So what exactly qualifies as a pendulum? Any collective structure fueled by shared emotional energy. Here's just a few examples: governments, religions, corporations, social movements, celebrity culture, news media outlets, sports teams, even family dynamics and drama. Whenever people emotionally focus on the same idea, a pendulum is born. Now, not all pendulums are negative. Some can actually support you in your alignment with the wave of good fortune. This video you're watching is technically a pendulum. Certain books, communities, and teachings that elevate your awareness, they are also positive pendulums. But make no mistake, most pendulums you encounter daily are negative. Negative pendulums exist to distract, divide, and distort your worldview, like energetic vampires draining your life force. So how can you tell if a pendulum is draining you? You feel emotionally triggered, trapped in fear, guilt, anger, or shame. You find yourself endlessly defending, fighting, or arguing about something. You lose sight of your true goals, getting swept into collective movements that don't actually serve you. That's why pendulums are so dangerous. Unless you're consciously watching where your energy and attention are going, you have no idea who or what is controlling you. And the truth is, governments, companies, celebrities, and even high-level marketers, they are all consciously weaponizing pendulums. The news pumps fear and hysteria to keep viewers emotionally hooked. Politicians manufacture enemies to rally support, and their opponents do the exact same. Luxury brands engineer emotional triggers by manufacturing exclusivity, making you feel like you're missing out if you don't own a certain item. But in reality, a Gucci shirt is the same as a Walmart shirt. It's not about the product, it's the emotional hook. All of it is designed to steal your energy and knock you off the wave of good fortune. Because if you're constantly triggered, constantly upset, constantly chasing validation, you defer your power to the pendulum. You get trapped in drama, conflict, and struggle, just trying to survive. So how do you free yourself from the grip of pendulums? One word: indifference. You stop reacting. You observe without fighting. You ignore them emotionally. You reduce the importance you assign to them, and instead focus your energy on your goals, your own lifeline, and the pendulums that uplift your aligned frequency. Pendulums rule unconscious people. Conscious people rule their own reality. And this all centers around one critical factor: importance and balancing forces, which brings us to part 4, and in my opinion, the most important principle in this entire book. Importance is how you finally exit the maze of manipulation and walk into true freedom, because balancing forces no longer work against you. Importance is the root cause of imbalance in your life. When you make something too important, whether it's success, love, money, status, or anything at all, you create excess potential, which triggers balancing forces that push the thing you want away from you. Importance creates a labyrinth around your reality, where you feel stuck in a maze and can't seem to find the exit. Life feels like a difficult chess match because your levels of importance are out of control. Think about it, you've had that experience before. Maybe you really wanted the job. Maybe you desperately wanted your business idea to work. Maybe you seriously wanted that person to like you back. And the more you tried to make it happen, the harder it became, until eventually the opportunity vanished, or the person you were interested in stopped responding. All of that happened because of elevated importance. High importance creates an energetic imbalance in the field. And whenever there's excess potential, balancing forces move in to neutralize reality by pushing away what you've overvalued. Reality seeks neutrality always, and it has no choice but to restore balance when your attachment tilts the scales too far. Now, there's two types of importance you need to understand and be aware of: inner importance and external importance. Inner importance is when you make yourself, your abilities, your goals, or your problem overly significant. It sounds something like, I have to be successful. Failure would be unbearable. I have to be admired. External importance is when you assign inflated value to external objects, people, or circumstances. It sounds like, I can only be happy if I get this job. My worth depends on this relationship. Let's look at examples of each. A clear example of inner importance is achievement and success. Many people overestimate their capabilities or their sense of self-worth. They see others succeeding and think, I could do it better, I'll be next. And so they start their entrepreneurial journey expecting immediate results. But because they assign excessive importance to themselves, balancing forces neutralize their progress. What they expected to be swift and easy turns into setbacks, rejection, and disillusionment. The perfectionist mind then paralyzes them. They stop showing up consistently. They procrastinate, telling themselves they're waiting for the right time, when in truth, it's their inflated importance sabotaging them. So that's a good example of how inner importance stops people from achieving their goals in business or in their career. Now, a clear example of external importance is romantic relationships. You meet someone, you fall deeply in love, and because you love them so much, you assign them enormous importance. You project qualities and characteristics onto them that go far beyond who they actually are. You place them on a pedestal, and without even realizing it, you fall out of balance. Balancing forces then create tension, unmet expectations, and conflict. You start clinging, needing validation, needing them to fulfill an image you've created. And before you know it, the relationship crumbles. Trust breaks down. You're left heartbroken and confused about what happened. That is importance. That is balancing forces restoring neutrality. Remember this, if you're desperate for love, you'll push it away. If you're desperate for money, you'll block financial flow. If you're obsessed with success, you'll encounter endless obstacles. Anytime there is great importance, it's really fear disguised as care or ambition. You fear not having your way, so the mind overcompensates and clutches tighter to control. But true flow comes not from control, it comes from surrender. It comes from normalizing your desires. So how do you reduce importance? You take yourself and everything you want off the pedestal. You stop taking yourself and every opportunity way too seriously. You realize that the world doesn't owe you anything, and you realize that what you desire is neither rare nor difficult. It's natural, it's normal. Someone out there in the world already has it, and there's a sector in the space of variations where you have it as well. Think about it like this. When you go to check your mail, are you struggling? Are you pumping yourself up with affirmations just to walk to the mailbox? No, you just go and you open it and you get the mail from the mailbox. That's how you treat all your goals. Love, money, success, freedom. They are as natural and as accessible as walking to your mailbox. This carefree and lighthearted attitude, this relaxed confidence, matches your resonance to the lifelines where those experiences flow to you easily. You shift your focus from chasing the goal to living the destiny that unfolds naturally from the goal. You find joy in the action steps, not obsession over the outcome. You treat your dreams lightly, but with respect. You're intentional in your manifestations, but detached from exactly how and when they show up. This is how you collapse the walls of the labyrinth that keeps you lost and confused. This is how you exit the maze of struggle and glide towards lifelines of freedom. The less you clutch at life, the more freely life gives you what you desire. And in doing so, you activate a powerful unseen force, a force that carries you effortlessly towards the realities you were born to live. Now that you understand the role of importance and balancing forces, you're ready to start using outer intention, to let reality itself do the heavy lifting for you on your behalf. Now, as we go into this conversation about intention, you have to understand that there's two types of intention that shape your reality. Inner intention, the force of your personal will, pushing and striving and controlling, and outer intention, the forces of the universe itself, aligning circumstances, opening doors, fulfilling your desires without struggle. To think about it more meaningfully, inner intention is like trying to push a heavy boulder up a hill. Outer intention is like stepping onto a moving walkway that carries you toward your goal with minimal effort. So in a sense, the real goal is not to push harder, it's to shift from operating through inner intention to living through outer intention. You see, most people are trying to create their reality using only inner intention. They're trying to force the world to conform to their desires and unconsciously elevating importance levels. But as you know, through the lens of reality transurfing, balancing forces will always mitigate negative excess potential, which is why you rarely get what you desperately want. In the previous section, when I described inner and outer importance, you saw how great emotional investment fueled by inner intention didn't produce the desired lifelines of business success and loving relationships. Importance was high. Inner intention was the culprit. There is a cause and effect relationship here. When you rely heavily on inner intention, when you try to use sheer willpower to force outcomes, you create excess importance. And the natural consequence is pushing away the very outcome you desire. Outer intention originates from the soul, from the higher currents of the universe itself. It's not about pushing reality, it's about choosing and allowing the reality you want. Outer intention is when the world itself rearranges to fulfill your goals without force. You move through life with a quiet trust that reality is working with you, not against you. So what does outer intention feel like? It feels effortless, like paths open coincidentally. Synchronicities guide you. You act in flow, not in struggle. Outer intention is when you start seeing the little nudges, the subtle invitations from the universe. Opportunities reveal themselves naturally. Doors open without you having to bang on them. So how do you activate outer intention? First, visualize your goal as already achieved. Feel it mentally, feel it emotionally. Second, let go of controlling how it happens. Trust that life can organize the path better than your mind can. Third, lower importance so you don't block the flow with excess potential. And finally, follow lightness. Follow the small signs, the intuitive nudges, the natural opportunities that feel expansive instead of heavy. Your role is simple. You set the goal clearly, you feel it, you trust it, and you allow the unfolding. In real life, outer intention often looks like shifting your focus from yourself to others. You start asking, how can I help others fulfill their intentions? How can I bring my value into the world in a way that supports the dreams of others? Because in truth, you can be someone else's outer intention. And the more you help others fulfill their soul's path, the more the universe conspires to fulfill yours. This is the practical magic of intention. And when you master it, you shift into lifelines where life genuinely supports your highest creations. I mentioned earlier that one of the greatest tools for living through outer intention is visualization. And that brings us into the next section, slides. The creation of mental movies that guide the manifestation of your new reality. A slide is a mental movie, an interpretation of reality that you project onto the world. But most people's slides distort reality in unhealthy ways, putting themselves into bad lifelines without even realizing it. If you want to master your reality, you have to become aware of your slides, dismantle the harmful ones, and consciously create new slides that align with the reality you actually want to live. Here's the truth. You are playing slides all the time about what your reality is or what it should be. The mind automatically adjusts perception to match the slides, often hiding the actual truth of the situation. This can be dangerous if you're carrying distorted slides. For example, someone with the victim slide sees only threats and injustice everywhere, even when none exists. Their mind bends reality to match the distortion they already believe. Distorted slides create distorted realities. If you carry a negative or exaggerated slide like, "The world is cruel, I'm not good enough, rich people are evil, I'm oppressed," you unconsciously move towards lifelines where those beliefs are reflected back to you, because slides don't just influence how you feel, they influence what sectors of reality you align with. Slides generate excess potential by misinterpreting reality, and balancing forces come in to correct this imbalance, often painfully. So where do these destructive slides come from? They come from personal experiences, societal conditioning, family values, past traumas. Even pendulums implant them over time until they become so familiar, you don't even realize you're looking at life through a distorted lens. But here's the power you do have. You can replace old limiting slides with new empowering ones. A conscious slide shifts your energy to match lifelines where your ideal outcomes naturally exist. A conscious slide should reflect the reality you choose to experience without excess importance or unrealistic fantasy. Just natural alignment. So how do you shift from negative slides to positive ones? First, identify destructive slides. Where are you distorting reality negatively? Second, dismantle false slides. Acknowledge that they aren't facts, they're just projections. Third, create and install positive slides. Visualize the reality you want as if it's normal, as if it's natural, as if it's already beginning to unfold. Normalize your desires inside of your slides. Don't make your dreams feel miraculous or unreachable. Make them feel inevitable and familiar, because here's the hidden truth. You don't experience reality itself, you experience your slides of reality. Reality mirrors back the energy and assumptions of the slides you're currently projecting. Master your slides and you master your reality. Empowering slides don't just speed up manifestation, they collapse the distance between where you are and where you were always meant to be. Visualization is part of this, but this goes deeper than typical visualization techniques. When you create slides consciously, you are projecting your reality outward rather than waiting for reality to give you permission to believe. And whenever you visualize, remember, always in the first person perspective. Not like a movie you're watching, but like a video game where you are the first person player, where you're moving through the world, seeing, touching, and living the scene yourself. Feel the world around you from within the experience. Do this consistently, and doors will start opening. Reality will begin to rearrange itself to match the slides you've installed. And that leads us directly into the next part of this journey, where we talk about inner intention and action through goals and doors, and how little signs and shifts begin to reveal the right goals and doors opening at exactly the right time. As you begin moving through the space of variations, various goals and doors will start appearing in your field. And you have to stay mindful, because something very tricky can happen, and most people never realize it's happening to them. You may start pursuing goals that aren't even yours. You may find yourself walking through doors that were never meant for you. Not every goal you pursue is truly your goal. Some goals are traps created by pendulums, social pressure, ego, cultural expectations. You must learn to distinguish between alien goals and your soul's true goals, because only your true goals will open the right doors that lead to your highest lifeline. So what exactly are alien goals? Alien goals are imposed on you by society, by family, by the media, by culture. They create internal tension and stress. Even if you achieve them, something will always feel off. Alien goals often lead to emptiness, struggle, or a never-ending feeling that this isn't it. Here's some of the signs that you're chasing an alien goal. You feel heavy, drained, unmotivated. You're chasing it mostly for validation or survival. It feels like a must, not a natural joy, and this is where most people stumble. From early childhood, we are conditioned by societal expectations. We chase careers, status, and success without ever stopping to ask, is this what I actually want? And so people end up trapped, caught in a rat race of external demands and lifelines that don't reflect who they really are. Pendulums grip their energy, and they aren't even aware it's happening. Your soul's true goals feel totally different. It lights you up from the inside. It feels natural, meaningful, even if challenges arise. Your true goals feel like coming home, not like proving yourself. The key test is this. If the journey itself brings you energy and enthusiasm, not just fear or duty, it's likely a true goal. Pursuing your soul's goals is where alignment meets practicality. You won't feel like you're forcing yourself to show up every day. You'll pour energy naturally into the process because it nourishes you. And most of the time, your soul's goals are hidden in plain sight. They're the things you loved doing as a child before the world told you who you were supposed to be. Children are geniuses in that way. They haven't yet been captured by pendulums. And much of transurfing into realities of abundance is about reconnecting with the inner child and returning to the natural playfulness of life. Now, as you walk towards your soul's goals, you'll encounter doors. And here's the rule. You don't have to break down the right doors. The right doors open easily. If you find yourself endlessly fighting, forcing, and struggling, you're probably at the wrong door. The wrong door feels heavy. It feels draining and suffocating. Like every step forward costs you a piece of your soul. You'll feel excess potential contaminating your field. You'll feel trapped in the labyrinth again. And even if you succeed at the wrong door, it will come with tremendous sacrifice, stress, and spiritual decay. Most people live their entire lives that way, succeeding at the wrong goals, and wondering why it doesn't feel like success. If you find yourself standing at a foreign door, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to keep banging on it until you break yourself. Simply turn around. Shift your focus. Choose another door. Because here's the truth. If it's truly meant for you, you cannot fail. Like we went over in part 1, there are infinite possibilities in the space of variations. And what feels heavy now can quickly turn into pure joy and expansion with a simple shift in energy. There is always another door right nearby. And from this mental attitude, your path will open naturally. So how do you choose the right door? You don't chase success as defined by others. You listen to your heart, not just your mind. You look for what gives you energy, not what drains you. Trust that the right door will feel light, not heavy. If you have to push, fight, and claw endlessly, you're not following your soul. You're fighting for an illusion. The discernment to know the difference and the humility to trust your inner guidance is paramount. But to develop that trust, you need integration. You need harmony between your heart and your mind. And that's exactly where we're going next. You do not need to figure everything out. You only need to choose with your heart and trust your mind to serve that choice. Your heart is the compass showing you the direction. Your mind is the ship sailing you to your destiny. When combined in sacred harmony, you access immense power. But for most people, the heart and mind are in conflict, and that disharmony puts them on lifelines that don't reflect their desired reality. The mind wants control, logic, and safety. The heart desires truth, purpose, and authentic joy. So let's break down why there is conflict by understanding the nature of both instruments. The mind is rational, analytical, and cautious. It tries to plan, control, and predict outcomes. The mind relies only on known information. It doesn't trust the unknown. When left unchecked, it creates doubt, fear, and struggle. The heart is intuitive. It is sensing, it's feeling. It knows what is right for you, often without needing logical proof. It feels lightness, joy, and certainty when you are moving along your highest path. The heart connects you to the space of variations. It senses the lifelines that are best for you. The conflict arises when the mind abandons the heart. When the mind, corrupted by pain, fear, or societal conditioning, no longer trusts the language of the soul. Many people today have locked their hearts inside a box. They live solely for predictability and safety, working jobs they hate, in community with people that they don't actually love, living lives of quiet desperation, and they call it being responsible. They wait for perfect timing. They wait until they feel 100% prepared. But perfect moments never come. Pendulums have deeply ingrained expectations of what a successful adult should look like, and most people live and die within that prison without even knowing it. Now, on the opposite extreme, you have the spiritual bypassers, those who completely abandon the mind in the name of spirituality and following their heart, who forsake all structure, all discipline, all strategic thinking. And while they wear the mask of spirituality, their lives descend into chaos, scarcity, and confusion. Another pendulum, another trap. You need both your heart and your mind. The heart chooses, the mind serves. When the heart, desire, and the mind, intention, agree on the same goal, you move powerfully. Outer intention comes alive. You become magnetic. Reality bends to support your vision. Time collapses in real time, drawing you toward your lifeline of effortless abundance. Doubt disappears, struggle fades, clarity and flow take their place. So how do you integrate the heart and the mind? One word: healing. You heal the wounds that caused you to distrust your soul. You learn to recognize the subtle language of your heart, your intuition. You listen to your heart first. What do I truly want, even if it doesn't make logical sense? And as you become attuned to the language of your heart, you'll start to recognize its signals more clearly. When you make decisions and take actions, you'll know if they are aligned with your heart. If it's a yes, your heart will gently nudge you in that direction. It will feel natural and flowing, and confusion will be absent, even if the path doesn't make logical sense to your mind. If it's a no, your heart will not whisper. It will echo. You will feel it. A deep resounding tension telling you not to move forward. In truth, transurfing is less about making perfect affirmative choices all the time, and more about skillfully saying no to the things that are not meant for you. You will feel anxiety and tension flare when you are knocking at a foreign door. You will feel heaviness when you try to force the wrong path. But when you stand at the right door, aligned with your soul's blueprint, it feels natural or even joyful. Then you let the mind serve the heart. Once the heart chooses, the mind builds plans, structures, and steps without second-guessing the soul's choice. You look for lightness. If a goal feels heavy, forced, or fear-driven, your heart is not fully aligned. You practice inner stillness. Quiet the noise of the mind daily so you can hear the signal of your heart more clearly. Your heart chooses, your mind implements. You use the creative genius embedded within your soul to select the lifeline you desire, and you use the systems of the mind to walk the path towards its realization. You follow the synchronicities that life reveals in the space of variations, and you use the discipline of the mind to stay true to your goals and true doors. When your heart and mind unite around a single soul-aligned vision, you stop fighting life. You stop chasing what was never meant for you, and you start transurfing. Life stops being a battleground and becomes a mirror. A mirror reflecting your inner alignment, your chosen frequency into physical form. And that leads us into one of the deepest truths inside of reality transurfing. The world is not what you think it is. The world is a mirror. Reality reflects your inner state back to you, but with a delay. You don't react to the mirror, you change your inner world first, and then reality begins to reflect the new energy outward. Whatever you believe, feel, and hold most strongly within yourself eventually materializes outside of you. But unlike an ordinary mirror, reality has a lag. When you change internally, the outside world doesn't update instantly. It takes time. And this delay is where most people lose the game. Because they don't see instant results, they doubt themselves. They give up. They revert back to old games. And so reality, being a faithful mirror, reflects those old patterns once again. Most people live their lives trapped by reacting to the reflection. Anger at problems, fear of lack, resentment towards circumstances, comparison to others already receiving their manifestations. But reacting emotionally to the reflection only strengthens it. To truly change your life, you must act from the version of yourself who already lives the reality you desire before you see any evidence. You must become that person internally. Feel the emotions, think the thoughts, carry the energy of your chosen reality now, even when it seems like nothing has changed. And then, slowly but surely, the mirror catches up. The external world begins to adjust itself to match your internal blueprint. This is what is referred to as collapsing time-space. You're bending reality in real time to the lifeline you desire in the infinite space of variations. And here's what most people don't realize. They curse their mirror for not instantly granting their desires. They lose patience with the process, and in doing so, they sabotage themselves. Imagine this. You are like a child asking your father, the mirror, for a toy. And the mirror, full of love, joyfully begins taking you to the store to get it. But somewhere along the journey, you find yourself walking through a park under the trees. You don't recognize where you are. Fear creeps in. And so you protest. We're going the wrong way, we're lost. And the mirror responds kindly. If you say so, we were headed there, but if you insist we're lost, then we are. And so you shout back, we're at a park and I don't have my toy. I thought you were taking me to get it. How could you let this happen? And the mirror, still loving, still patient, says, I was just trying to take you for a push on the swing before we got there. This is how most people treat their reality. They react in anger, desperation, and agony, protesting that everything is wrong and that nothing is working. And because the mirror must reflect what you project, reality has no choice but to agree. Of all the infinite timelines you have access to, you keep yourself locked onto paths of uncertainty and error, not because you are truly lost, but because you believe you are lost. Because your awareness is limited and your importance is high, you interpret every twist and turn as a sign of failure or unworthiness, and the mirror simply reflects that belief back to you. So, how do you actually get the toy? How do you reach the life that you asked for? You stop fighting the mirror. You stop complaining. You stop doubting every step. You realize that complaining, resisting, fighting, and stressing about your current reality only freezes it into place. You cannot argue with the mirror. You cannot yell at it to change. You must change your inner posture first. You must smile, even when the reflection hasn't smiled yet. You must trust, even if it looks chaotic. And in good time, with divine patience, you arrive at the toy store. Your inner child leaps with joy. The truth is, your world is taking care of you, even if it doesn't look like it right now. You have no idea what alien goals and foreign doors you were clinging to without even realizing it. The world is far more generous, far more supportive, far more loving than your limited mind can even comprehend. It is only your impatience, your distrust, and your distorted slides that keep you trapped in cycles of scarcity and misfortune. Start being the energy of the reality you choose now, and the world will meet you halfway. Don't wait for the reflection to smile first. You smile first, and the reflection smiles back. Now we arrive at the final chapter of this video. The vision comes together, and a master is born. You understand that the space of variations holds infinite possibilities, all happening at the same time. You enter the wave of good fortune, mindful not to assign too much importance so that balancing forces stay away. You withdraw your energy from pendulums that sought to feed off of your life force, and they fall away too. You've let go of inner intention and allowed outer intention to do the heavy lifting. You're playing slides that are supportive of your lifeline of freedom and abundance. You engage with your soul's goals and walk through the right doors. You've healed your heart and integrated your mind, and now you're smiling at the mirror. What happens next? What does a master of reality look and feel like? You live by your own rules. You engage with reality according to your own standards and truths. You no longer need permission from anyone to be anything or do anything. You simply give yourself permission, because you understand the vast majority of people in this world are waiting for permission from pendulums to think, act, and live for them. But you, as a pilgrim in this dimension, transurfing your own reality, you are free. You live by your own personal philosophy. You move according to your own sacred principles. You do not borrow your energy from society, you generate it from within. And in doing so, you choose yourself. You become one of the chosen few that makes apples fall to the sky, a glitch in the matrix, an awakened being with your spiritual sovereignty restored. Because every chosen figure in history, every prophet, every sage, every revolutionary, every master teacher, they chose themselves first. And eventually, the world recognized what they had known all along. And if you don't live by your own rules, you get swept into alien goals, pendulum games, and endless conflict. You end up living someone else's life, trapped by guilt, duty, fear, and the illusion of fitting in. Your energy leaks out when you betray your inner truth. Living by your own rules stabilizes your energy field. It's what makes you magnetic. It's what makes you immune to the storms and distractions of the world. Reality begins responding to you, not the other way around. And just like every chosen one, you must accept this. The world will reject you at first. It will misunderstand you because a prophet is never received in his own home. But it doesn't matter because your power was never meant to make sense to them, only to you. If they tell you it is impossible, do not believe them. If they tell you that you have to earn your place in life through blood, sweat, and tears, do not believe them. If they tell you that without suffering you cannot succeed, do not believe them. If they tell you that you are not good enough, do not believe them. If they tell you that you must give up your dreams for the sake of reality, do not believe them. Do not accept the rules of a broken game. Choose your own reality and trust it. The world will try to teach you limitation because it has believed its own limitations for a very long time. Living by your own rules disconnects you from pendulums and places you into lifelines where your soul flourishes. Your energy becomes focused, clean, and magnetic when you act from inner truth. No one else's system is designed for your fulfillment. Only your heart holds the blueprint. That's why the strategy for success never really matters. It's the soul behind the strategy that makes it work. And from this frame of reality, all the money, the success, the accomplishments, the love you once desperately tried to manifest become effortless byproducts of an aligned existence. Because you understand the game of reality and you play it well. What looks like otherworldly genius to others becomes child's play to you. You ascend into life circumstances others can't even comprehend. They will call you lucky. They will say that you had unfair opportunities. They will invent reasons why it must have been easier for you, but they don't know any better. They don't know that they have access to the same lifelines and the space of variations that you do, where every day feels like you're winning the lottery, where you listen to the rustle of the morning stars, and reality itself moves to meet your soul's wisdom. And finally, give yourself some grace, especially around importance and excess potential. In a strange paradox, trying to reduce importance creates even more importance and negative excess potential. Don't become too rigid. You'll knock yourself off balance not because of mistakes, but because you fear making mistakes. Transurfing reality and true manifestation is not about living a perfect life or creating miracles from sheer willpower. It's about flowing with your natural rhythm, allowing your genius to come alive, navigating reality like a cosmic dance. So forgive yourself for your mistakes and forgive others for theirs too. And as cliche as it sounds, love is what makes transurfing so powerful. This path doesn't have to be that complicated. It's actually quite simple. Give love and gratitude for everything that happens to you, no matter how bad you think it is. And in doing so, you transurf reality into a life of ease, abundance, and freedom. Reality was never against you. It was simply waiting for you to remember who you are. And now that you're starting to remember and you have the blueprint to effortless existence, the world will meet you halfway in a sacred dance between destiny and free will. The only question left is, now that you've escaped the labyrinth and you're clearly seeing through reality, what will you do with it?